snowblind because I guarantee he is the only one watching right now. Welcome to the fourth episode of UoS Insight Forever Fourth. Um, Talking about LCS today, I'm joined by a select elite group of Salford members, the best of the best, the bronze. Sorry, I mean the best of support one could ask for. That is Dockers, the 100 Thieves
I'm silver.
Honester. Yeah, sure.
How many games
Thanks,
did it
man.
take you to get silver?
All right, no BM.
No, no.
Only I can BM. Right. Thank you, Dockers, for coming. How happy that Meteos isn't as washed up as everyone else thought he was.
I'm so relieved.
He is your phone background. Am I right?
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. All right. And also joining us on the opposite end of in the blue corner, so to say, if 100 Thieves in the red corner is Swifty, the Team Liquid fanboy. How are you doing? How happy are you that Liquid still,
Over the flipping moon.
even though
I'll
they can
say.
still come forth in some things still, but we'll get to that later. And of course we've got Sammy who is hosting the stream
Yo.
as well. Sammy, what is your team? Do you have a go-to team? Like, who do you root for?
Not particularly. I just like keeping up to date with the whole esports scene. I don't really. I mean, I used to support TSM, I guess, when they did well. So, but
Sorry, I think I threw up a bit just then. What you just said was
well, that was before. Like, I don't now, so you don't have to throw up anymore.
okay. Right. Anyway, let's. What we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about three regions because everyone is in playoffs currently. So first we'll be talking about LCK because the Giants have fallen in some respects. We're also going to talk about EULCS and then finish on NALCS, of course, because it's the most exciting one. So firstly, it's League of Legends Champion Career. There's
Is that actually the name of it?
I think it is.
Yeah, Champions career.
Yeah.
It's called, what was it? It was like Champions Summer, Spring, Autumn, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like
Previous.
champion. Yeah, that's
And
what
now Autumn's just
previous.
Worlds, but
Yeah. So, quick explanation of sort of what's been happening. LCK, we had Samsung Galaxy rebranded as or bought by KSV Esports. We had what else happened? We had some roster changes for SKT. Peanut left. Hoonie, of course, left. Went to Echo Fox.
Yep.
And we were left with a pretty weak SKT. The original the world champions from Samsung, well KSV now, looking pretty good. But also we've
only
got
downgrades, really.
Africa,
It is Africa.
Africa Esports, or I can't remember. I can't even remember. Is there a second name to that, or is it just they're called Africa? Africa.
I think it's just called
It's really
Africa.
fun to say.
Africa Freaks.
We're fairly. I think they're mostly rookies, actually, isn't it, in that team? And then we've got what's it? It's not Kongdu Monsters. Oh, I can't remember. They all begin with K. It's really confusing.
No, one of them is Kongdu Monsters.
No, Kongdu. It was one of them. Which is the one currently in first?
Kingzone
Dragon X.
Kingzone. There we
which
go.
were previously
all begin with K. It's really confusing.
Longzhu.
Previously Longzhu. There we go. So those are the teams. So it's a really weird split. There's times where it looked like SKT wasn't going to be able to actually make it to playoffs. But what were your guys' things? Because views on it? Because I know Joe, you a lot of the times was like like SKT don't think they're gonna make it, and we had some conversations about it. What's your thoughts on the spring split?
Which you took into me, Joe, or the other Joe?
Swifty. Sorry.
I mean, it makes sense because SKT basically downgraded jungle and top lane when it needed to at least get the same level of players in, and Kingzone and KT had better rosters. I kind of expected them to be third though. I didn't expect them to fall off that hard, but it looking at the roster, it makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
Bang stepped it out pretty hard though, because Bang played really bad at Worlds. Like, Bang was a big part of the reason why they didn't win Worlds.
Bang played really bad at the start of the year as well, I would say.
Yeah, he's like in the past like month or two, he's like really stepped it up and been probably. He's probably been the most consistent player on the team, to be honest.
Most consistent and most improved throughout the split, I would say.
Like, it's basically Bang and Fnatic, not Fnatic, Faker, trying to basically just trying to carry the team, basically.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens when they bring in two rookies. Well, Blank's not a rookie, but they also played Blossom in the jungle, and I think Tal's the starting top laner now.
Yeah, and then there's Untara.
They're all kind of new to the scene, and
Like,
yeah, that's what happens.
Tal's okay, but he's a rookie. Like, you can't expect him to be popping off.
No, and I would expect it to take a lot of the players a split to sort of like get into it anyway and start properly performing, I would say. So I think SKT are going to come back even stronger next.
Yeah, I think
next
they're the
split.
kind of organization to do that. But you were saying, Swifty, you're saying about the downgrades that they basically got. Were there any options that you can see where they could have shored up some of their weaknesses with the
I mean,
with the gaping hole of Peanut and Hooney?
well, Expect was a free agent and literally only just got picked up by Origin. I don't know why. There was talk about Expect going to Africa, but I don't know why. If SKT were on like a low budget, why didn't they just get? Because they could have got Marin, but they refused to pay his salary of
Yeah.
like, what was it 900k or something? If they were on like a small budget, I don't know why they just didn't pick up Expect, to be honest.
Who was that Cloud9 top laner last year, the Korean?
Impact.
What Impact?
They wanted
No.
Impact as well.
No, the other one.
Yeah,
they had
did
Impact and
want
they had
Impact.
that younger
Ray.
guy, Ray.
Oh,
Ray's-
Ray
was
went to
really
EGG.
good. And
Ray went to EGG pretty early in the
yeah,
off season.
I think it's because it all happened quite late, the whole SKT roster change. So
I think they were in negotiations with Marin for like a solid like 3 weeks though.
mm,
But the
So-
decision was obviously made to go with rookies at some point.
I mean,
But I think it was a mistake. Well, obviously it was a mistake.
yeah, it is a mistake, but they might be thinking it in the way of bringing up the talent for the next split, maybe. They
Yeah,
might be thinking
possibly.
long run. I mean, Fnatic did that. Remember, they weren't that strong when they
But they had a
decided to
good
go all
they had a
European.
good playoffs. They had a
Yeah,
good showing in that playoffs, and they to be honest, if they didn't play G2 in that playoffs, they probably would have got the finals.
Yeah. So
Like there just hasn't been the improvement throughout the split. Like if you're going to take rookies, then you want them to improve throughout the split and the whole team to improve, and it
I
hasn't
also-
happened at all.
I also would argue that apart from like the Samsung White and Samsung Blue era, some of the Korean teams that are currently in LCK are some of the strongest, I think, roster-wise that there has ever been. I mean, the Samsung era was a separate era, I'd say. Like, I mean, you had those two teams were two of the best teams ever to play the game. But I mean, if you were to say to people 2 years ago, some of these rosters, like I mean,
Yeah.
KT, Smeb, Score, and Rush, Pawn, UKL,
Yeah, like,
Deft, and Matter.
that-
in a
that's
team together, that's
insane.
nuts. Like if you said that 3 years ago, someone would say, no one has that kind of money. But that's just
Doesn't
one
KT
team.
have a really good rookie as well?
Yeah,
I think they do.
UKL, the
Yeah,
mid.
Yeah,
UKL's
he's a really
insane.
promising
He's that
rookie.
mini faker.
But like, yeah, that's the thing you got to remember. Like those two, well, KT in Kingzone and in KSV, to be honest, they're both really stacked. Like,
So LCK, I think, arguably
even if SKT had their jungle and top at the same level, I still think they would have struggled against those two teams.
yeah, no, I'd agree definitely.
Yeah.
Because you got KT that sure they sort of like choked a bit last season, but they stayed together, so they've got the synergy. And the same with Kingzone. Well, Kingzone is just ridiculous anyway.
It'll be kind of interesting. It's been a long time since we've actually gotten to see a different Korean team at an be the favourites in a different international tournament. You know what I mean? Like MSI hasn't it been like MSI and All Stars? Faker's been there for the last 5 seasons. I think I did that right. It's from All Stars in Paris in season 3, and and SKT has made it there every single time. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
this is the first time
yeah.
they've missed it. I think I
Like,
heard that
yeah,
stat from somewhere.
even in season 4 they made it.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy, really, that they've been that dominant for that long. Because teams have a life cycle. So I think the fact that this time that they've actually on a slump, they've actually been like kicked out, they've been knocked out, shows that Korea is stronger now than it's like ever been. You know, because I mean, in season 4, SKT was in a kind of slump, and they still managed to make play and put in a fairly decent result.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
The gaps closing, guys.
I mean, we'll see, won't we?
Moving on from SKT. Well, not moving on from SKT's roster, but moving on to the actual split. They had a very rough split and they scraped playoffs.
How they
Yeah.
managed to even out like their win rate, I do not know.
They had some like miracle run near the end.
They had a couple of clutches. They had a couple of like 2-1 wins that could have gone either way.
Yeah, they really didn't have good luck this split.
Does anybody? I don't know if there's like a table somewhere that shows like if LCK was a best of 1, what it'd be like.
No,
It
I
would
don't
be
know.
interesting to see.
It would be interesting to see.
That's surprising that they still play best of 3s and everyone else sort of scrapped it, didn't they? All the other leagues scrapped it.
Like getting bought out.
We should probably go over the MVP standings because LCK has that the MVP system, don't they?
Oh yes.
Yeah, they do.
So for the regular split, BDD got most points as MVP, and Bang got 5th.
Really? I mean, that's because he started playing well towards the end. Like at the start, he was just abysmal. So.
But it was BDD, Kuro on Africa, who was previously on what team was he on? Can't remember.
He was on Up before Africa.
Oh, that was it. Kuro was the mid laner for Rox Tigers when they got finals and lost to SKT. So that's also another stacked roster. So he got the second most MVPs. Then it was Peanut, and then it was Tucson of Africa, and then Bang.
It was like 3 tied for second place as well for MVP points.
So are you surprised at all by the results of that?
I didn't think that 3 people would be tied for second, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that BDD got the most MVP points because he is a very big player for Kingzone. Like they do play off of him quite a lot. Like they play more off of him nowadays than they do off of Prey.
Him and Peanut work so well together, I feel like he's always there backing Peanut up when Peanut's invading, and that's why it works so well.
Yeah, and then they can just rely on that. They can just rely on top to. They can just rely on Khan to win lane.
Yeah,
like the guy's a monster.
They always have top lane pressure, so like with Peanut invading topside jungle is just like he can always just do it.
Yeah. And then they've got the most consistent bot lane in the world.
Yeah, and I mean BDD played mainly Sion, I think, throughout the split as well. So he was just playing like a tank, the whole split. So he was just able to walk into the jungle, and I guess they can't really do much against that because it's just Peanut, Olaf, and a Sion mid. Like, what do you do if that invades you? You can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I'd like to. So talking about now playoffs. Now that we're talking a bit about the split, who did well, who didn't. SKT sort of returning to form, kind of near the end. I'd like to talk about the actual teams who qualified. So in fifth place was KSV, which was kind of a surprise, seeing in their roster, qualifying that low. Then it was SKT in fourth. Only, unlike in other regions, top 5 qualify. So it's fifth KSV, fourth SKT, third KT, second Africa, and then first Kingzone. There's so many teams beginning with K. It's really hard to pronounce. I'm getting so confused and tongue-tied. I just said in 3 rather than like in third. So and one of the things I would highlight was it's being raised is Korea has a different playoff system to other regions. So unlike the bracket system where you'll have first seed on one side, second seed on the other side, third seed on one side, fourth seed, and like so on and so forth, or with buys in with what NA and EU do. One of the things LCK does is they have a gauntlet. So KSV being last will be in last place.
It's also a
SKT will
best
play
of
them.
3 for the first
Yeah,
round.
it's best of
which is
3 as well.
interesting.
So whoever wins that goes on to play KT. Whoever wins that plays Africa, and whoever wins that plays Kingzone. Which is a weird system. It's what we have in EU and NA for the gauntlet based on championship points.
I think it's better though.
I prefer it.
I think it rewards you for having a better regular season.
I suppose so, but then I don't know. The advantages of the way which EU and NA do it is the fact that you have 3. There's 3. Like, I mean, not spring split. Let's talking about summer splits. You have 3 different ways to win worlds: consistency in playoffs, winning that playoffs, or winning through the gauntlet system. So there's like 3 different routes. So it was one of the sorry to bring it up. One of the times when Liquid failed to make it to worlds.
Thanks.
I remember a video by Thorin, or it was the coach. I can't remember who said it, but basically said they were given like Liquid was given 3 chances to get there, and they failed at each one. You know, so and they're very different things. One is consistency, one is playoff form, and the other is winning the gauntlet. You know, so I like the gauntlet style. I think it's very different, and it's like a boss battle. You know, you get like the whole Cloud9 reverse sweeping their way into worlds in season 5 was spectacular. I remember saying Cloud9 can still make playoffs and can still make worlds, and the said no, would never happen.
High playing jungle.
Yeah, it was fantastic to watch. So I don't know. Yeah, Joe, you Swifty, you like it. What about you, other Joe Dockers? What do you feel?
I don't know. It's less structured, but I'm more used to like round robins that they have in NA and EU. So it's kind of weird to watch. It's easier to follow though.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Like it's linear, so to say, and the seeding is it's a very fair seeding, because one of the problems I suppose with a bracket stage is you can get very unequal brackets where a team maybe is won against more lower placed teams, and then they might have more. You know what I mean. You can get like it happens with the Swiss system, especially less so in League, but more in CS, where you get a misbalance of brackets. Happened in not the last major, but the major before that, specifically. Anyway, unless anyone's got any strong opinions, we'll swiftly move on to SKT versus KSV, where SKT dethroned the world champions, or well, the roster of the world champions, which was fairly an upset. I think was safe to say. I don't think people were predicting it.
KSV, I think, are really like they're quite hit or miss. I feel like sometimes they just play insane and like really well, but then
they rely on their synergy.
Sometimes they just look
that's
off.
That's what they have.
Yeah.
That roster's been together for like 2-3 years almost.
Yeah. When they get it right, it looks really good, but then I don't know.
They took a while to build that team.
Yeah.
And I think the more interesting game was the series afterwards. Personally, the El Clasico of LCK, the
Good one.
KT Rolster versus SKT. Seeing if SKT can upset Deft again and make him cry, you know.
Is that all you want to see?
And that's all SKT wanted to see. But alas, it didn't happen. 3-1.
It's expected, to be honest. Like, given the form of the two teams and the rosters, 3-1 is pretty. It's basically how everybody expected it to go. To be honest.
Yeah, I think it's something kind of interesting actually, seeing how fans and it's like analysts as well, the kind of in a best of, because it's a best of 5 at that point, isn't it?
Yeah.
On that second round into the gauntlet. It's kind of interesting to see the way people view first games in a best of 5. So I was watching the live in-play betting. Just a quick disclaimer: do not advise betting. I do not endorse it. This is just an interesting thing I noticed was the favourites to win were KT, right? Straight off the bat, SKT odds were a lot worse or better. I don't know. Basically, bookies' favourite was KT. As soon as SKT won that first game, shot up the other way. SKT, like, if you bet on SKT, you're going to get nothing for your money if they won. And that's because it's there seems to be this mentality of whoever wins the first game is like, oh, it's done, it's over. Yes, statistically, it increases your chances, but I would argue the first game is also the most insignificant game, because at that point, no one's like shown anything. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, anything can happen in that first game. It's almost irrelevant to the rest of the series, because as soon as you got past that first game, like KT, you know, teams just adapt, and then it just swings the other way. I'm trying to remember the actual play of that series. I just remember it was, I can't remember if it was back and forth. Did KT win the first one or did they win the second game? I can't remember. I just remember, like, as soon as one team wins, it just swings back the other way, and it's a bit like, that's not really how best of 5s work. And it's and you get fans doing it as well. As soon as one team, like if Team Liquid goes a game down, like second game, and it goes like 1-1, everyone's like, oh, Team Liquid's gonna lose, and it's like, not really, you know, like that's not how it works. So there's this weird fan manipulation of how well a team does, you know. I don't know. It's something I've noticed. You get it in, especially best of 5 series where it goes 5 games.
I mean,
like
the first game, KT lost, right? Yeah, because SKT won first. I don't think that was because SKT played particularly well. I think it was because KT drafted really poor comp. Like, their comp was just early game, and they had to win early, and if they didn't, then they just lose the game. And then they did do stuff early, but Rush didn't look particularly impactful. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if there was much that he could have done, but
SKT did block Rush quite a lot by buying a huge amount of early control wards.
Yeah.
But it's like, my main point was like, SKT won a game, and then suddenly everyone was like, oh well, KT's done, and it's like guys, come on, like. I mean, there's been games where, like in series, where SKT has lost the first game, and then people are like, oh, SKT, and it's like, well, they come back and they just go like win 3 games in a row, you know. So I don't know. I think Rush put on a pretty good debut. Well, I can't remember which games he played in. He played in game 3, I think. Or no, or was it score for the rest of the series? It might be no score. All right, it's score for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not surprised. Score played really, like, I mean, they murked them really for the rest of the games.
I think it was very difficult for Rush to do stuff in game 1, like I said, just because of their team comp. But they fixed the sort of drafting issues after the first game, so I don't think you could say like Rush had a poor performance. I think it was more the team comps. But yeah, I think it was the right decision to swap him out for Score, because Score obviously played insane.
Okay, I just want to, speaking of junglers playing insane, let's look at a jungler who definitely wasn't playing insane. I'm just doing a quick bit of maths. Right. So
Are we going to be
if
talking
I add
about Brother
that,
Blank
add
by
up,
any chance? Because
wait.
Blank has been
Right.
well,
He
blank.
went, wait for it. He went 3 kills to 21 deaths to 12 assists in the last 3 games.
That's some
If you include the
lep numbers
Oh,
right
wow.
there.
first game, he went 3 kills, 22 deaths, and 22 assists.
In
No, 19
three-
assists. So he's still negative either way. He's still negative. I mean,
Blank's
yeah,
he's the kind of jungler that he doesn't really make proactive plays, really, and I think that's probably because when he tries to, Faker probably says like, no, we need to chill, we need to do something else, or he gets like flamed for it if he tries to do something. Which I guess is, I think one of the reasons why Peanut left was because he felt uh, like he would just get told off if he like tried to do something or did something wrong. So
yeah.
I guess like Blank's just trying to, he's just trying to not get flamed, so he doesn't really proactively do anything or try to die and stuff. So yeah, he just sits back and farms and like he does pretty well at counter ganking most of the time.
It's kind of the TSM attitude, isn't it? Where they've taken
Yeah.
they take really good junglers and then just make them about to swear on stream, by the way. They just make them Bjergsen's little pet. He just does
Yeah.
whatever Bjergsen said. I don't think it's Bjergsen's fault at all. I think it's more like the management structure and the coaching structure. If you've got a player who's just godlike at early game, play around that win condition. Teach them the other side of the game, but play around that win condition. That is a win condition. And it's like they take these really good players. Like I guarantee it, you could put Peanut into TSM and he would just become a ward.
Yeah, it would
That's
just
what would happen.
end up
Like,
the
Mm.
same. In an
Yeah,
LCS,
and-
he would probably pop off, but in Worlds, like yeah, he would just be a ward.
He'll be a walking ward for mid lane. That's what it'd be, and that's just. I mean, that's just TSM for quite a while. Actually, it happened with Svenskeren as well for quite a while. Anyway, so they got knocked out by KT. So KT finally got revenge. Been a while since they got that. So that means KT's gonna play against Africa. And then whoever wins that goes against Kingzone. So, what are your guys' predictions for the first series and then the last series? Dockers, you first.
I think it'll be like 3-2 to KT, and then I think Kingsland will win the finals.
Close finals or?
I think it'll be 3-2 again.
I think I agree the first series will be 3-2 for KT. I think it's going to be a really close series. I'm going to say Kingzone are going to 3-0 the final.
Yeah.
What about you, Sammys?
Just watching KT play versus SKT, the wins weren't exactly like
Convincing.
yeah, like convincing. I don't think KT are as strong as Kingzone right now with the way that with the way Kingzone's playing. They'll probably take like one game off Kingzone. So probably I would say a 3-1 to Kingzone. That would be my prediction.
Right. My prediction is a bit different. I think KT will 3-1 both series. And my reasoning behind this is often like is a pure like practice based mentality. The fact that KT will be having more high pressure and practice games to build up their confidence, while KSV will go into that completely fresh without really actually not KSV, sorry, they're all given K. Kingzone will be going in straight in without actually even playing anyone, right? And, like you have to be wondering who are they going to scrim, because like if SKT is knocked out, SKT is not going to be scrimming. Like who else have they got to play? Like KT won't want to play them in case they, like have to play against them. So it's like who are the scrim partners at this point? So I think
Probably KSV, to be honest.
it will either be a 3-0 by Kingzone or KT will beat them 3-1, I think. And also the added like rush factor like if they can get that to work, like Rush is someone who could match Peanut in like the early game aggression.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, I mean, I could be wrong. It could be a really close matchup. It's one of those ones where like it depending on who shows up, it can go so many different ways. But like I've seen it so many times where teams get buys into like semi-finals. Like Immortals is a really like key example. Like they get a buy into semi-finals, and then because of complete lack of preparation, they get smashed, like absolutely destroyed, and it happens. So yeah, I'll be interested to see it. I think if KT like 3-1s or 3-0s Africa, then there's definitely a strong chance for KT to take King's Zone. But yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know when those games are happening. I presume it's happening tomorrow.
It's tomorrow and Tuesday, I believe.
Right.
Kingzone have a lot of veteran players that have sort of been there before. So, I mean,
How old is Def now? I don't think he's that old still.
I think he's 21 or 22.
Jesus.
So's KT's. Like KT's. Those players have more. Like so many of them have been in incredibly high pressure. Smeb, Mata, Deft. Like
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I hope KT beats Africa just because that final, the talent in that final is insane. Like, I mean, Khan, Smeb, Peanut, Score, BDD, UCal, Prey, Deft, Gorilla, Mata. It's nutty. It's insane. So hopefully it'll be a great final. That's what I hope for. I'd be more than happy for KT to lose as long as it goes to 5 games.
Yeah.
Just because I want a series out of it. Anyway, that pretty much covers LCK. There's a lot more discussion about that than I thought there would be. Let's move on to the European LCS. Our hometown heroes. I don't know. I'm trying to think of an introduction. Basically, to set the narrative, G2 had a bit of a shock when Sven and Miffy ditched. I mean, it happened it's similar to what happened with Korea and China. There's basically been an exodus of European players over to North America. Again, because the salary. I mean, they've said the salaries are a lot higher there. And
they
also,
were paid a lot at G2 though.
They're paid a lot of G2. I'm not talking about like specifically.
I think the pay's not that much more. I think they moved similar to Yellowstar.
I'm not talking about specifically, but like G2. Just like in general, like, like Power of Evil. Like I think Reckless, he said he couldn't say how much, but the offers he got, I think he mentioned at one point were 2-3 times what he was being paid at Fnatic. So
why does he stay with Fnatic then? Why do you think he stays?
Because he's Fnatic through and through.
And I think he believes that Fnatic can win. I think, or win something.
Like, if there's a player that's like, well, there's sort of like 2 players. If there's 2 players that are like they are like loyal, like one club sort of players.
Yeah.
It's basically Soaz and Reckless.
It's very admirable, definitely.
Like the only reason why Soaz left was because he was going with Peke and Cyanide.
I mean, you can
originally
you can put it like this: if Marin and Imp was one of the best ADCs in the world, and Marin was one of the best top laners, and they could go into any top Korean team, but they get paid so much more for playing in China, and so like it comes down to a decision of like, well, do you want to win or do you want to earn boatloads of money?
Yeah.
And and it's a fair decision. Like, I mean, Power of Evil was a prime example of leaving straight for that sweet Skrilla.
Well, after he said how much he loved EU and never
and then immediately bolted. I get why he did it. I completely understand. Like I don't judge him for it. A lot of people gave him flack for it, and I was like, dude, you're looking out. In the end of the day, it's your life.
Like for all the he took the heat for all the EU players moving as well. Nobody else got flamed, only him.
Yeah, no, it's because
because he said he loved EU.
Yeah,
he used it to get votes for All Stars.
No, he's the one who messed up by making it about money as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, I can guarantee that Forbiven will be getting paid. I mean, especially with how little HJK was spending on their roster this season. They actively said they were going to cut their spending to it out of
They were
protest
open about
because of the
their
changes.
financial issues
Right.
last year.
Yeah,
as
they're
well.
open about it, but they cut their funding massively. So for Bivin definitely gets paid at least 3 times for playing on Clutch than he would do at HDK. So I mean, I understand. I just think because Parafield was very public about it, it'd be better if he didn't say anything. It would have just been a better course of action. But I don't blame him. Like there's plenty of cases of players like like being on the All-Star team and then immediately getting like Froggen got like second most votes behind, or did he get the most votes and then he went to Echo Fox? So happens. I mean,
Yeah, but
Bjergsen left. I mean, I don't think he went about it in the right way, but I respect his decision. I understand that.
who's
Power of Evil's decision. Like,
no, I don't respect him at all.
you don't respect him at all. Why is that?
I don't
I don't
either.
respect him at all for what he did.
I mean, it was kind of scummy.
Like he lost all respect when he did that.
No, I'm not saying respect him. I'm saying respect his decision. Like, I like going because of higher pay. I have no. I mean, which is basically the end reason. Like, I have no judgment towards that. Like, not talking about him as a character. I'm talking about like his.
Maybe if he was actually going to a
roster
good
decision.
team.
I don't think, yeah, but but he's not. But that's you can tell that's not interesting.
Yeah,
mean, you could say the same. You could say the same about Imp
Yeah.
and Marin. They've.
I mean,
been
to be
dead-end
fair,
teams.
when Imp went to LGD, that team was like a super team.
I mean, it was for a short period, but
It was for a season.
Any Korean team would.
Yeah, he
pick
would
him
have
up.
done
Like, Dandy's a huge example. What was one of the best junglers in the world? Like season 3 Dandy?
He was
Season 4
the
Dandy
best.
was the best. In China, complete trash. Like
He had to play top lane as well for a bit.
yeah. So like so I out of a business, not him personally. Like I think he handled the whole situation pretty terribly. He needs some lessons in PR, but I think as a business decision, I respect it. Like personally, I think I would have stayed with a team. I would want to win, like specifically. So I would go for whatever team provides me the best chance of doing that. But I don't know. I'm not in his position. I don't know like what was his family situation like.
Yeah.
His financial background. I don't know any of that stuff. So I get it. If you want to do it for money, I completely understand. League careers are not long.
Yeah.
They really aren't. There's very few players who can stick in the scene and stay. And
if
be
you're
relevant.
if you're that good at something, then you might as well try and cash out on it a bit. I mean, it is respectful staying in a team.
I respect the decision, but I don't respect him.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I completely understand. I think he went around it the completely wrong. I get why he was trying to defend himself, but I think it's the better one, just being like, "Yo, guys, I'm sorry, but like, I had this new offer or whatever," and he could have handled it in a very different way rather than going in offensive. So I get that, but
Anyway, aren't EU salaries going up next?
They will be
They're
with
going up when
They-
franchising goes
they
in.
will
Yeah.
do franchising.
So most players are just gonna get paid. Well, probably not as much as NA, but they're gonna go up a lot more.
All
I
the
guess.
orgs, every single org in the league will have like a shit ton of money. So
Yeah.
theoretically, they're gonna get very similar pay after
Yeah.
franchising goes in.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what teams stick around. Actually, we'll talk about that now. Actually, what teams do you think would stick around for franchising?
I think
Stay. I think
G2.
Fnatic and G2 would have.
Fnatic.
Yeah,
to
obviously.
maybe Vitality because they're very popular in France, and
they're
they're
French
owned
org.
by a French telecom company, so they have money. I think Misfits because they're owned by Miami Heat and they have a good brand.
Schalke. because
Yeah,
they're
and
like a football
Schalke.
team.
That's it.
Boris.
Those are the only teams I think make the cut.
I think
Um,
Unicorns of Will will try really hard because they've got.
I just don't think they're the backing. They're the brand, but I don't think they're the backing unless they have like a org.
But they can maybe get investment from
can
their
get
brand.
Yeah.
I think they're the most likely to get an investment, and
But their brands like declined slowly over time.
it's because their roster quality has declined over time.
They've also
That's why.
They've lost Hilly and Vizicachi.
They used
But
to
I
play
mean,
like crazy champions as well, and that's why everyone
that's-
started loving them.
That's because of Kickers. That was.
Yeah.
And Power of Evil.
So yeah, so I don't know. I think Fnatic will definitely stay.
I think G2 will.
I
Yeah.
wonder.
Mm.
My only concern with the franchising is like, I mean, Fnatic's fairly big enough, but say like, let's say Unicorns of Love does get an investor. If they had like a, I don't know, a football team or something backing them, their income is going to be so much higher than Fnatic's. So for Fnatic's going to have just less money to actually
It's
support.
kind of what's happened
you
with
know?
TSM, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like TSM,
that is a
like
perfect example.
they didn't offer that large of salaries. Like the reason why players have gone to TSM in the past is because they're TSM.
Yeah, they've got a name and a fan
Now,
base.
I said, didn't I say this at the beginning of the season podcast? I said TSM are now like they can't compete with salaries.
Yeah, no,
No.
I do remember you saying that. Yeah, you definitely
Like
said that.
they just can't compete. Like there's no way they could have got Hooney. Like they don't have the money.
And if they're not performing in the league, then players aren't going to want to go there to win either. So
Yeah.
they have literally
Like
nothing going for them.
next. Well, no, I'll save this for when we talk about NA.
But then again, this happens in like every other sport. Like, I mean, Formula One. Like, there's a reason.
I mean, Formula One's a
Bond
bit of a
tier.
different thing because it's like
but it's
it's-
hugely money driven. Whoever has the most money
yeah.
usually has the better car.
But
Like,
the top end of Formula One, it's whoever has whoever can luck out on building the best engine.
yeah, but it's more the point that if you don't have that
Yeah.
much money, you stand no chance of winning.
Yeah.
Like it's almost
And once you lose the pedigree of being a top team, Fnatic were in they were in deep trouble if their roster didn't work out last year.
yeah, definitely.
The fact that their rosters worked out the past 2 years has really saved their skin, to be honest.
I also think it shows testament to how important internal management and coaching structure is.
Yeah.
Because Fnatic now is is probably I'd say one of the few teams, one of the only teams, maybe there's been a couple of others who've had huge roster changes, and still being able to get back to the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's very few other teams have ever been able to do that and recover from that. So props to my boys
And
girls at Fnatic.
I'll save all the TSM stuff for later, but it looks like TSM are going for a similar thing.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they recover. Anyway, let's get back into sorry, I completely sidetracked everyone. Right, so previous predictions. So we had, let me get LCS screen. So we had predictions. Unicorns of Love didn't think was going to do well. Splice, I think me and Swifty said I said I think Splice was going to be one of the strongest rosters, and Swifty said there's definitely a chance that they can make it into playoffs, possibly semis, but they wouldn't get any further than that, which is what happened. And you predicted Fnatic GT final, which I was thinking was pretty accurate considering the strength of those organizations. But there's definitely some outside bets who could have done it. Vitality looked very strong at the start of the season. Rip Ruben.
Rockies as well. Rookies, sorry.
Yeah, a lot of.
There's was it 3 rookies?
Yeah, a lot of rookies on that team. So it's nice to see how much new talent there is. My most disappointing was Schalke, because they've got some good players on that team. They just didn't play as well as they should have done. No, and I
think Vander's coming towards the end of his career now. I
Yeah,
think he's starting to fall off now, which is really sad to see because season 6 he was an absolute god.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not like he's playing with a bad ADC. He's playing with a very good ADC. So
yeah.
So yeah, you definitely could be great. It does happen with players. I mean, X Special slowly fell off. You know, it happens a lot with these players. So I don't know. We'll see if there's any roster changes. It'll be interesting if there are any in the off season or mid season.
Yeah.
Between splits. Other than that, I think everything else is Misfits. We said should
Misfits,
do
like,
well.
really, they were so
They
hit or
really
miss.
underperformed. I had like way higher hopes for Misfits.
I had them as
Misfits to the
semi-finals and
final.
getting third place.
Thing is, in my opinion, I don't think Sancox was that much of a downgrade. To be honest,
He wasn't.
he has been a very good player in the past. So I don't really know what happened there. But then again, and it's not even like the rest of EU's particularly strong because everyone was having roster changes. Like there's very few. In fact, I think were they the only roster to actually stay together. I think they
what?
apart from like the mid lane, I'm pretty sure that.
No, there's support left as well.
Oh yeah, Ignore. Yeah. There's Mickey X.
But Ignar wasn't only really turned on in playoffs and at Worlds. Like, he wasn't a good regular season player. But
So
they got Mickey.
apart from Fnatic, I think Misfits had the second least amount of roster changes, but also performed one of the worst. So
I think
I think Alfari played well though, didn't he?
Misfits' best players stayed though, because Alfari and Hansama, I'd say, were their best players, and they stayed. And also Maxwell played pretty well at Worlds, and they didn't change him out. So it's
Yeah.
surprising to me that they're not performing as well.
So with that in mind, the predictions we had, so the teams which did qualify for playoffs ended up being thank you.
Roccat,
Sorry,
as usual, making it.
Roccat scraping the barrel.
They just always do.
You know, HDK Gaming.
Somehow.
Team Vitality coming in fourth. Splice in third. We'll get on to NA with the amount of bloody ties they had. G2 beating out Splice, and then Fnatic topping quite comfortably at the top, where they should be. Kings of Europe are back, boy. Sorry. Very, very biased. Right. So let's move on to playoffs and with what happened there. So, unlike NA, which has been far more exciting, I think, apart from the Vitality HDK game, but
I mean,
that wasn't
that was an interesting one.
I mean,
Jesus.
from what I heard, it was a clown.
I can't believe I watched 3 games of that series.
It was
Like,
definitely.
I'm not getting
fiasco.
that time back. It's like is probably the worst EU playoff series I've ever seen.
It was pretty horrific to watch.
In full EU style.
Do you remember like when Dig would play?
playoffs?
Do you remember when Dig would play like Complexity in like 80-minute long games in NA in like season 4? That's how that felt.
Was it like when Cloud9, when they had Meteos, they had that 70-minute game where Meteos just inted on Lee Sin, and then by the 70-minute mark he had worked out how the champion worked and managed to actually do something.
Yep.
Yeah, Joe knows what I'm talking about.
It's like what happened with Trundle in the final game of their series recently. 100 Thieves.
Oh,
It's
that
like,
was 70 long
I can
minutes
press
that no one
R on a
needed.
tank. Whoa! I didn't know that. That's how you play Trundle. That's the kind of Meteos strats. Anyway, so first round, Vitality was against HDK, playing one of the worst series of League of Legends we've ever had. And Vitality won, moving to play for Fnatic. Splice 3-0'd Rockout, which was kind of, I think...
I'd say it was expected.
I thought it would be a little bit... I thought like Rockout would take a game. I didn't think it would be a clean 3-0 like that.
Yeah, I don't think people expected it to be, because Rockout looked not that bad, actually. They looked fairly decent. I mean, they were coming in as the bottom seed, but they still looked like a decent team. But we'll move on to who they played next, which was G2, and they got 3-1 by G2. Splice being knocked out.
Expected.
Yeah, expected.
Yeah.
Hyanan stepped the fuck up. Damn it.
Fine.
Hyanan stepped up really.
I mean, you did swear
Really
earlier.
heavily.
I just you didn't say anything, so I thought we'll just
I know.
carry on and hope no one notices.
Yeah, so Kianan stepped up really hard that series. Like his KDA was 14.
Thing is,
For four
all the people
games.
who've gone about Kianan being a bad player. I remember when he used to play with Kasing. Those two were really, really good. Like really good.
Yeah, but that
And-
was
And
that was
and
that was
that
season
wasn't a work.
6.
Yeah,
No,
no,
season
I,
5.
that I know it was a long time ago, but like it back then, people were like, "Oh, he's not very good." And I was just watching. I remember watching like Hyun and Kasing 2v5, and I've always felt he was an undervalued asset as an ADC.
The thing
I
is,
always
he's
felt
been
he got
really
overlooked.
inconsistent
Yeah,
the entire split.
but
But he stepped it up.
Is that the reason? Do you guys think that's the reason that G2 hasn't been that as consistent, as dominant as they have been in previous splits? Is that because of their bot lane, or is that just the roster as a whole?
Yeah,
I think it's the
it
roster.
is.
All right. So why do you think it's the roster, Dockers?
I just don't think they work as well together. Like, I don't know. You listen to comms from Mike in between games, and it's like it feels like when they're losing, things aren't being proactively done. Things are just kind of like, oh yeah, we should do that maybe. And
Didn't
then
they have wasn't it beforehand Trick and
Trick and Expect
who
top
who
lane.
is yeah, but who was the shot caller? Was it Trick and Mithy? I think were
Yeah.
shot callers.
It wasn't
Well,
Miffy.
Was it not
Was it not?
Mithy?
Miffy said it wasn't him. I
think it was
can't
Trick.
remember, but I believe it was a mixture of Trick and Perks.
So, like, I mean, they might be losing out. It could be because they've lost out on that secondary in-game leader, and that can cause.
Yeah.
I mean, you like when High stepped down from Cloud9, you saw how lost that team was because they're so used to relying on High and his
I mean,
leadership.
High
so-
literally basically
He literally
micromanaged
did.
with his voice the other players on his team.
I
I don't think you're gonna get another shot caller like him. but
Yeah, no,
the analogy is pretty similar.
I don't think so. But there was also a team fight. I remember Monte Cristo was analyzing it. Was CLG. I can't remember who they're playing, 2SM or something. And I remember because Afromu was the shot caller, right? And I remember he got killed, and he just said, "Look at what's happened to CLG. They're like headless chickens. As soon as Afromu dies, they just panic because their leader, their shot caller has died." And it's and I feel it's been like
Meanwhile, if High would get killed, it'd be better because he could more
Yeah.
like shot
you
call
can
better.
micromanage even better.
Yeah.
But like, I think that's it's like using that as a sort of analogy. I think when you like the in-game leader has died, has been removed from the team or left the team, it kind of leaves a hole in that roster. And I'm not convinced it's been filled that well. But I don't know. We'll see in the
I
finals.
mean, it's
And
meant to be Hyanan and Woodid. Like that, they were like they were the entire shot calling on Rocket. I believe it was meant for them to shot call, but I don't know how they've done it.
It's kind of unusual having an ADC shot call. I don't know, Sam.
I mean, Double lifted it.
I mean, you play jungle, but you also play ADC.
Yeah.
A lot of people have like said ADC is sort of not tunnel vision, but they're very focused because
I think shot
keeping up
calling
with CS is
from the ADC role is almost impossible because you just have to focus on the laning so much, and then in team fights you just have to be focused on outputting damage. So I think the best positions to shot call from are either jungle or probably support, because
I think mid's okay as well,
yeah, mid can have an input, but
mainly because of the roaming aspect.
I feel like junglers should have the main sort of shot call, just because they have more freedom in the game and they can do more
But
stuff.
yeah, I totally agree. But I think with Fnatic, I think Soaz is actually. I know he used to shot call like a lot on Origin. I'm not sure if he does the same on Fnatic now.
Ooh.
I
I
don't
think
actually-
he
I
will
don't-
because I don't know who else would.
I don't actually know who's the shot caller actually. I think
Well,
it's,
it used to be Reckless, right?
It might be.
But
It might
then
be.
that
It
was
might be Hilly.
season. That was
It mi-
season. Yeah, in season 6, I remember Reckless talking about how he had to shot call
Yeah, because he was
and how he
captain,
found it
I think.
really difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
it
not
is.
shock. He's not shock. I don't think he's shotgun anymore. I think it.
I think it might be Hilly and
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it
he
might
might
be
be right.
Hilly and Soaz
Is
actually.
it
I don't think
Hilly
Brox's
and
shot
Soaz?
calls.
It'd be Hilly and Soaz, or it'd be like Hilly and Broxer.
Yeah.
Is one of those two.
I think the
combinations.
way Origin used to shot call was Soaz would be like the heavy macro shot caller, like calling for objective plays and stuff like that. I think that's how they worked. But
And I think, or it might have been like Amazing called macro, and then he called team fights. I think they had that situation where they had like one
I
person
d-
was.
I don't know if he was team fight. I don't think he was. I think he was just general macro.
I can't remember. I can't. It was a long time ago, but I remember they had that roster was fantastic. I love that roster. I miss you, XPK. Anyway, Fnatic versus Vitality on the other side of the bracket. Fnatic 3-1ing them pretty comfortably. Don't think they were stretched too far. And that was with Buipo, the substitute, because
He played really well.
This is a game I actually watched, or one of them. I think it was Bripo on Gangplank. Just like
yeah,
he's so clean. Like the play, his Gangplank play was insane. Like I didn't think a European player. He looked like
Did
a,
you,
a Korean, honestly.
Did you see the interview with him after the series?
I don't know. I didn't.
No,
I
I
was
didn't see
super
it.
surprised at how like good his English was and how articulate he was.
Where is he from?
Like I think he can. He's from
Right.
Belgium, but
Is he?
I think Fnatic shot won't have any shot calling issues with him. Because I feel like he's a really vocal player.
I think
But I
also
think he
with,
may actually be better for them potentially because of
I
that
think
reason.
also with the what happened basically when they secured their first seed, they put him in anyway for like it was meant to be one match, and then Soaz basically said no, give him both matches. It's like Soaz literally said take both my weeks. Like he didn't have to, like he wasn't meant to. It's just Soaz was like give this guy some experience on stage, and they did, and he played. So which is like because of course he didn't know he was going to break his hand.
Yeah.
Because in the video of Soaz you could see like he was getting upset about it because of course he wants to play for his team. Because he's like very much like reckless. He's very like team spirited, and you can see he's very upset. But that preparation, like, it's probably the best case scenario I've ever seen of a sub being able to prepare before having to be played.
They said in an interview after the Vitality series that they were going to use both top laners.
I think it's a good. I think
Like
not enough European team. No European team has been in a position where they're good enough to rotate players.
yeah,
Enough, and I think Fnatic's had that roster so long now that they've gotten to the point where they can go, yeah, we can swap players and still work. You know? So
the plan was Lido would be playing carries.
I think that's correct. I think.
But the metas all carry top laners really anyway, like with the odd Cho'Gath and Sion.
I also think if you're going to bring in a new rookie top laner, there is probably no one so storied and experienced as Soaz to help you.
Yeah,
I
he's
think.
in good hands.
Like it'd be like being a mid laner and then getting trained on the same team as Froggen. Like the amount of like game sense and knowledge Froggen has is just he's been playing the game for that long. You know what I mean?
I don't care what people say at this point. Like Soaz is the greatest Western player of all time.
You're like Thorin.
I'd agree with you.
Like
you're so
he
like
is.
Thorin.
Like the guy's like been around since season 1. Like he got second place at Worlds in season 1. He's had
I think if XPK
2 other semi-final experiences.
If XPK was still playing, okay. If Origin hadn't messed up and XPK was still playing,
that's the thing. Like Soaz is potentially going to be like an EU winner again.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think Soaz is definitely one of the most decorated and to still be one of the best top laners in Europe.
It wouldn't surprise me if Fnatic went to MSI, and then Soaz comes in and just plays amazing, and then like Fnatic get like top 2.
The thing is, like
it wouldn't surprise me.
I'm going to use an analogy from CS. Is someone did an analysis of So players after their games, regardless whether they win or not, get a rating at the end. And there's analysis because it was known that Nico sort of was claimed to have choked in high pressure matches and high pressure situations. Someone took an analysis of him, compared him to Coldzera and a lot of these other players, these big name players who've played in finals, won tournaments and lost tournaments. And one of the interesting things is he actually has always played well in apart from one game, he's played well in every single match he's played in a playoff. He's always gotten a positive rating, but his rating dips in high pressure games, and especially finals, just a tiny bit. The thing is, Soaz is one of those players who's the opposite. Like, you stick him in a high pressure situation, he thrives. He gets better.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of Western players who you think they're amazing. You sit them in playoffs and they shit the bed. Like, that's just what happens. So
look at first week of Worlds last year. Soaz played absolutely terribly. Like, he was full dog champ, right? And he comes back, and the second week he absolutely clutches it. Like, there was a team fight around Elder Dragon in the game to get them to the quarterfinals, and he completely clutches it on Gnar, kills the Tristana, and basically wins Fnatic the game and gets them to quarterfinals. Like Soaz will have drop off points, but it's never that long. It'll be for a week, and then it will just come back. If it'll be playoffs or second week of Worlds, he will show up.
A player similar to that, but to a lesser extent, and we'll probably talk about him later, but is Forbiven. If you looked at what he's doing in Clutch, how he's just dragging that team across the finish line. Like, he played out of his mind. And I remember season 5 Worlds. I actually remember this because I was on I was looking around universities at the time. So I was actually at university viewing while Worlds were going on. And so I was on my phone the only way I found, because I didn't have enough data to watch it, was to refresh this one esports news outlet to get updates on the game. And it was the game versus, it's the team of Westall. What's it called? AHQ, that's it. And AHQ were about to finish the game. They were into Fnatic's Nexus, and I was literally like, oh my god! Like, if Fnatic lost this game, they would be out. They couldn't make playoffs, right, in their group. And Forbiven did that clutch for LeBlanc play, where he just got a triple kill.
Oh yeah, I remember the one you're talking about. Yeah,
I remember.
It was the one where they were playing Jinx and Tom Kench, right?
Yeah. And I remember going, oh, this is over. And I refreshed one more time, and I just saw Forbiven saves the game. And I literally just shouted in the middle of the tour. The tour guide was talking. I just went, yes! And I screamed, and everyone just turned and looked at me. But that's because he's one of those clutch players who can just, step up and pull it out. Bjergsen is a perfect example of a player who hasn't managed to perform at that level on an international stage. Arguably Doublelift as well hasn't managed to perform at that level. He can perform regionally, but it seems like, compared him to Soaz, compared to Reckless, compared to Xpeke, huge.
The reason why I don't say Xpeke is the best is because Soaz has been playing 2 more seasons. It's the reason why.
If Xpeke was still playing and had amazing results, I would say Xpeke purely because he finished higher than Soaz first season. Because he was on the team. He was on Fnatic.
Even when Origin had that bad season when Fnatic was on, they still got second place at Spring.
Yeah. Because they had that insane, they came last seed at playoffs and just had that insane run of just dominating teams. I remember that.
We've only spoken about one player on Fnatic.
That's because Fnatic's that good.
Just quickly touch up on how well Caps has been playing. He played incredibly well. I mean, he did get Swain.
He is for me. I think him and Broxer are my 1-2 issues on the team slightly, just because Forbiven, he showed at MSI in season 5 that he is a big game international player. You know what I mean? Caps,
He
less
played pretty
so,
well
I
at
think.
Worlds though.
He played pretty well at Worlds, but he also had some very bad games. So
It's the
He was
same
a
with
rookie,
Broxer,
though.
to be honest.
yeah,
Yeah.
to be fair, yeah, he was a rookie, so it'd be interesting to
He's
see what
super
he's like
young as well. I
this-
think he's still like 18.
I
Yeah,
think
it'd
he
be
probably just turned 18 this year.
Like the future of Fnatic with Caps looks pretty good. Like I think Caps is going to stay on that team for a long time.
hopefully. I hope so. Anyway, so let's talk about a bit G2 and what they've got. We've spent a long time with Fnatic, thankfully, because best team. Let's talk a bit about G2. So, Dockers, who is the standout player for you on G2? Who's the win condition? If that player, assuming everything else is the norm, if that player turns up or has an outstanding game, they can beat Fnatic. Who is that?
I want to say it's Perks, but it's always Perks for G2. Like,
Yeah, I mean, he
Channon's
is.
really hit and miss, and I think if they're lucky enough to like pop off through bot lane, which they won't, then they'll win. But I
They're
don't
playing
think
against
that
a
their
lot
bot lane.
better players.
Yeah, they're playing against Reckless and Hilly, and I don't
Like
think that their bot lane will do well. So I think their win condition is Perks.
See, I personally think it's Wanda.
I don't. I
Because-
think. I think.
All right, go on. Or jungle.
Well,
To
yeah.
me, it's
You tell yours
Jankos.
first, and I'll say
Yeah,
after.
for me, it's Buipo and Jankos because no, sorry, Buipo
Wanda.
and Wanda and Jankos and Bruxer. Specifically, I think Buipo's played really well, but we haven't actually seen him when he's like losing, getting smashed. We haven't. I mean, then again, is there any top laners who can actually do that to him? We don't know yet. He hasn't played enough. To be interested.
I mean,
to
he
see
played
that,
against
but
Cabo. Cabo is
but
a
if-
really good top laner.
he's very good, but
He's not
we'll
as good as
see-
Wanda. Wanda's been like one of the top 3 players in this in EU, like this split. So it's going to
Exactly,
be
so I
really
think-
interesting.
As a rookie on stage in such a high pressure match, I think if I was G2, I'd be trying to work out as a coach how much resources I should be putting top. Let's be honest, bot lane is probably gonna, if you go even, they've done a great
Yeah.
job. So your win condition is in mid or top, and I think if you're looking at Caps and the form
Yeah,
he's on,
I
the weakness is in top lane.
I think it's basically on Yankos and Perks, because I think you can leave Wanda to win lane. I don't think Broxer will really focus top lane that much. I think you can just leave Wanda to win lane, and I think he will. I think like G2's win condition is for Yankos and Perks to roam, kill Caps a lot, probably just camp him, and then look to maybe get bot lane ahead. I think that's their win condition.
So what? Okay, so speaking now that we've spoken about win conditions for G2 and we spoke about how strong Fnatic is, what's Sammy's? What's your prediction for this series? Who's going to win and by how much or how little?
I mean, I've got to be honest. I haven't watched a lot of the UoS. Well, I watched about one game of Fnatic versus who did they play last? I can't remember.
Vitality.
I just watched Weepo pop off basically. So I don't know if I'm fully qualified to predict this, but just going off what you guys have said and the Fnatic roster, I just can't see Fnatic losing with the players they have. So I'm gonna go with the Frio Fnatic.
Rio, strong. I like it. Partly because he said Fnatic will win. Dockers, what's your prediction and by how much?
I kind of want G2 to win, but I know Fnatic
All right,
will.
okay, moving on.
But I know Fnatic will.
Well, wait, yeah. You can
No,
choose.
Dockers, you can finish your point.
3-1 Fnatic, I guess.
Right. Any reasons why? Sim, you want G2 to win? Come back.
G2 are quite garbage, especially when they're behind.
G2 is garbage. You heard it here first, ladies
Jesus.
and gentlemen. All right, Swifty, what's your
I
prediction?
think this series is going to be heavily decided by pick ban, and basically by how much Yankos turns up. But I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be a 3-2, but for Fnatic. I think it's going to be super close. I think it's going to be a super close game 5 as well.
Okay, I think
Because I don't
there is
think Fnatic's going to get things like Swain every game.
If I'm gonna say like possibility wise, it could definitely go to 5 games. There's definitely a possibility of Fnatic playing like drafting not very well and G2 just stepping up. But if I'm gonna go with what's most likely, 3-1 Fnatic, and I think if Fnatic lose any game, it'll be first game and they'll do a KT and they'll just stomp G2. Like GT won't even stand a chance.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
So I think that for me that's the most likely, but I definitely think it may be the most likely, but it doesn't mean it's definitely going to go that way. But I think Fnatic, whatever happens, Fnatic will win. I think the chance.
I think so as well.
So low.
But I think it'll be close.
Dockers, when is the Fnatic match tomorrow for our viewers at home?
Not tomorrow. It's
not.
Sunday.
All right, it's for Sunday.
3:30.
All right. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, I'm on the train. Damn it. Right. I might. Do you think their Wi-Fi allows me to stream? I don't know.
Probably not.
I was on a Virgin train and the Wi-Fi was not good enough to watch Twitch. So.
Right.
You might be lucky if you get any sports app that has current
What's Score Esports will have a pretty good update.
Yeah, I'll look through Score Esports. Their app's pretty good.
Are we done
Sponsored
with
by Score Esports? No, I'm kidding. Yes,
I'm just gonna go to the
I'd rather
bathroom
blip, but okay.
quick before we start NA. I feel like this is a good time for bathroom break.
I'll do a little introduction first. Right, moving on to our final section. It's NALCS. Is the one people care about for some reason.
He's troll, dude.
Because they think they're good, but then can't win anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
I mean, I'm not wrong. Basically, all right. Let's talk a bit about NA. Recently, franchising has come in, so even more money has got into NA. Seen a lot of orgs kicked out and some orgs staying. We've already spoken about we've already spoken about how TSM has suffered a bit because of that. But I want to go back a bit in history and take those who might not know on a bit of a history tour of why this episode is called what it is, Forever Fourth. So one of the teams in the finals is Team Liquid. Now, for those who haven't been watching, when did they become Team Liquid? Was it season 5? I think it was season 5.
What did they change from? They changed from Cursed, didn't they?
Cursed, yeah. So basically, they used to be Cursed.
Curse?
Forever Curse,
I think.
And they're the Elephant Flame, as they were known. Been around a very long time, I think since season 1. Always been a fan favorite, having players like I Will Dominate, Voyboy, Cop, and other irrelevant players who have really bad that they faded into obscurity. And one of the memes was even when they had some good players like Voyboy and the other aforementioned players that I can't remember because they weren't very good, they always finished 4th. They could never get past 4th. They always finished 4th, and it became a meme, Forever 4th.
Wait, even back then they finished 4th?
Yeah.
Really? Oh god.
Since LCS has been in statements, like
the dreaded curse.
They've never gone past Forever the 4th position until now. But we'll get on to that. So Team Liquid, then they rebranded Team Liquid because there's this rule which came in, which is something to do with sister team. I can't really remember why. It's why EG rebranded.
It was something to do with.
It was
something to do with Curse Voice.
Like yeah, but no, it's with other things because Alliance.
It was something to do with the actual company, not.
Was it not that they also?
No, it's because they.
It was something dumb like a third party thing can't own.
No, not.
I don't think it was sister teams.
No, it wasn't. It was because it's like you couldn't sponsor. It's the same reason EG changed to Winter Fox and Alliance changed to elements. It's because there was some rule put in about the way teams are branded and they sponsor the. I can't remember. It's something like that.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
and Curse
was
was
the same
lumped
with
in the group and had to change. So they changed to Liquid. And they put together a team and finished 4th, unsurprisingly. And then
Piglet days.
after that, they didn't finish 4th. They finished below 4th. They did even worse. And
It was
Liquid
like
has been,
6th, wasn't it?
yeah, Liquid has been in a dire situation.
And then it was relegations.
And then it was relegations. But
Literally
then,
a year ago,
but
we were playing relegations.
Yeah.
Then Steve Moneybags, Liquid 112, the Skrilla god himself, came up with an ingenious solution. HTC phone, by the way. If anyone remembers that meme, that's an old one.
Oh, that's
right there.
The
For those
HTC
who don't
retirement
know,
home.
he was doing an interview and then he went, "Oh, sorry, I'm just getting a call from my HTC phone." It's the most obvious bit of sponsorship ever. Look it up; it's brilliant. But anyway, Liquid Moneybags, Steve, did a brilliant bit of business where he bought the entirety of the or pretty much the entirety of the Immortals roster.
He was
after
offered it, actually.
Immortals, I think he's offered it because I think they take care of him. But then it meant he could sell them off, and he also Liquid had a lot of backing, and it meant they actually had money to put together a really good roster, which is what happened this season, where they got Double Lift, Ole, X Smithy, who's their mid laner?
Roberto.
They basically took the
Roberto.
best parts of Immortals
Yeah, and Impact.
and added in the most consistent performing top laner pretty much for the past 2 years in NA.
And
then
the
put-
best or one of the best ADCs.
Yeah.
Definitely top 2 minimum. So and now Liquid is now in playoffs, and is finally not going to be 4th. But here's the irony, ladies and gentlemen. This is the best thing.
I'll take the irony
Honestly,
of it, though.
right? This is the best thing. If Team Liquid wins, they will be the 4th organization to win the NALCS, which means they will still be 4th.
Written in the stars, baby. Written
Like
in the
you
stars.
couldn't Riot
You
couldn't
couldn't
script
make
this
this
any.
stuff up.
Riot couldn't
It's
script
scripted.
this any better.
Yeah, it's
you
all
know?
scripted,
So,
dude.
so if Team Liquid doesn't want to be 4th, they have to lose the finals, which is fantastic. Anyway, that was my bit of history as we set up. So previous predictions looking at rosters, Team Liquid, we went in straight away and said would be really, really good. That came in straight away. What other teams did we originally say? What defied our expectations? What team did better than we're expecting, and which team did worse than we're expecting?
Clutch did so much better than I was expecting.
And they did so much better than everybody.
Did
suggested.
anybody really predict 100 Thieves to do that
Me.
well? Or
No.
Echo
Me, I
Fox?
did.
I think.
I mean, you would because it's your team.
I
but
think. I think Dockers did, but the rest of us slated them.
I think
I'm
I
pretty
said
sure.
100 Thieves would be like Siph or something like that.
Yeah, you said they would be
Like,
lucky to. I
'cause
think you said you
They
said,
made solid acquisitions, to be fair.
I think we came to a conclusion that like everyone but Dockers came to a conclusion that they would be lucky to make playoffs.
Yeah, we said like 7th place sort of.
Yeah,
team.
we said they were like a bottom tier, like not bottom, but like we predicted. All right, we predicted Golden Guardians would be at the bottom.
We said they would be like a bottom tier playoff team.
Yeah, we predicted Optic Gaming would be near the bottom, and we predicted
Yeah.
FlyQuest would be near the bottom. So there's no surprise there. Probably the biggest surprise was Clutch Gaming and CLG, I think.
See,
Um,
whoa.
Yeah, CLG just really didn't.
Nah,
work
yeah,
at
but
all.
look at their roster though, and they lost their main shot caller. Like I
Yeah,
didn't
but
predict them to
Bio's
finish
been
high at
good
all.
for like.
He's not a shot caller though.
They
He
only
might be a good
recently
player,
made
but
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, Rainover's historically Rainover's a really good shot caller. He was really good last year.
Apparently, he was like the secondary shot caller last. I just don't think he was used to having to micromanage everyone, or just even like shot call.
Like
in general.
who he almost carried CLG into to Worlds last year.
Almost.
but couldn't carry him into playoffs. So CLG was kind of a sort of upset thing, and we basically said that 100 Thieves and Clutch most likely from what I remember, so we said CLG was sort of almost guaranteed to make playoffs. We said it'd be 100 Thieves and Echo Fox fighting for the sixth place. You know, for the playoff.
Yeah.
That was the average, I think. Apart from
Also placed Echo Fox quite high.
okay, apart from Dockers, who
Nice,
somehow has
right?
predicted everything perfectly by the end of the season standing. We had a pretty nutty four-way tie at the end of.
I mean, there was a tie for first place as well.
Yeah, there's a tie for first place
There was
as
a
well.
tiebreaker for first place and for the remaining playoff.
So there's five. Was there five tiebreaker games?
Yep.
I think something
Yep.
like that. It's
There
pretty,
was
pretty mad.
Yep, there was 5.
Okay. First Dockers, then Swifty. How did you feel with the and it was a bit of a surprise. 100 Thieves, making it to first place and getting the first seed.
I didn't even think that would.
I can see how a team like 100 Thieves would be good in best of 1. The same as Echo Fox. Like, it doesn't surprise me too much that like teams like that would be really good in best of 1 format.
I think they got lucky because Echo Fox were playing with Papa Chow and the other mid laner.
Did they play that for the
Remember?
tiebreaker?
Yeah, they played them for both
Did
games
they?
on that
Really?
day. No idea why.
I didn't
Bruh.
watch that. That's odd to me. Why would they play their sub?
They played 2 subs.
Which
And
sub? Which game?
For both of the, I think it was for all 3 of the games on the 9th week. I'm not sure if it was just the last 2 on Sunday.
I
Definitely
actually think they did play with the.
Who was this?
They subbed out their
Papa
support and
Chow.
their mid laner for Papa Chow and Monte.
Wait, what? Sorry, I'm lost. What team?
Echo Fox.
Echo Fox.
Oh no, I remember that. I remember them putting it into Monte.
So I think that might actually be like a really big reason 100 won that both times, to be honest.
I mean, if we look at playoffs, right? If Echo Fox hadn't played their sub and had won those games, right? That means Echo Fox would have been playing against Clutch, and 100 Thieves would be playing against Team Liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Clutch played really well.
I
Well,
think that would have meant Echo Fox would have been in the final.
Yeah, I think
think
so. Because I mean, out of just pure like individual
Solo
scores,
versus Hooney.
individual
That's
scores.
not good.
If you look at the individual like team scores, so Echo Fox, Clutch. Okay, Echo Fox into Clutch went 1-1, right? Going into playoffs. 100 Thieves into how does this thing work? Okay, 100 Thieves 2-0'd Clutch Gaming in regular split. So in fact, Echo Fox, I don't know, they didn't. Actually, I don't know. Clutch Gaming played that well that to be honest, I think it would have been Clutch going through to the final.
I thought it would.
Just because they played that well and Echo Fox didn't play at all well.
True.
So I don't know, but then they might have had a different mentality going into it.
Played bad, or did the inferior team just win? Lose, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Could
No,
be.
the inferior team won.
Nah. I mean, Double Lift said, well, the entire team pretty much said throughout the entire split, don't take our best of 1 seriously. Wait till playoffs. We are a much better best of 3, best of 5 team. And look what happened. Clean.
Yeah.
Clean. So.
Yeah, I suppose there's always been quite a few teams.
They backed it up. They said that that their best of 1s weren't going to be that good.
I mean, you see it in a lot of tournament like bracket-based tournaments. If you want to beat like the strongest team or player or individual, the best time to do it is as early on as possible. Like SKT is considerably weaker at the start of Worlds than they are at the end. and that's usually the case because these championship teams just get the when they get the ball rolling, they just get better and better and better. It's like in tennis, the top if any of the top four players get to like quarters or semis, they're infinitely harder to beat them than they would be in like the first round going in.
Yeah.
Right?
Is that
So,
tactics though? Do they
No,
aim
I think it's
to
just
play worse?
they just I think people who are champions just have that mentality, that extra gear. They can find that upper echelon and just out of
Yeah.
nowhere, just you see in CS a lot. Like a great example was at the Boston Major when Fnatic played SK, and that series was literally Fnatic stepped their game up, then SK stepped their game up, then Fnatic stepped their game up, and whichever team didn't have that next gear lost, and it ended up SK just Cold Zero just popped off, and it just Fnatic was just defeated. They had no answer to that, and so which is when you get like really exciting series like the Rox SKT series, or was it Rox? Yeah, it was Rox, not Coup Tigers. It was Rox in the semi-finals of season 6. I want to say that was a fantastic series because both teams were just so good. And like
There's so many clutch moments.
They had that mentality of just going like people just do the most unbelievable clutches, just step it up and push their team further. Like Forbidden in the clutch playoffs against 100 Thieves, where he was playing out of his mind to try and keep his team in it. Like his damage numbers, I'm pretty sure were higher than the ADCs in a lot of the fights, just because he was just doing so much. Anyway, sorry, we diverted a lot off. Let's get into the actual playoffs. So the bracket, the first quarterfinals bracket, was Team Liquid versus Cloud9.
Easy.
Yep, 3-0.
Jesus.
I'm not even memeing either. It was just easy.
Yeah, C9 didn't play too well. And on the other side was Clutch first hit. Like it's really weird. It's like we're in the darkest timeline. Team Liquid hasn't come forth, and both C9 and TSM got bodied in cores. Like they got clapped. Like this is the darkest timeline for NALCS.
So
don't
funny.
you think? You know.
I've been waiting for this.
I
had a feeling that franchising wasn't going to turn out well for TSM, and it's coming true.
But the more interesting bit was semi-finals, where Team Liquid pretty much bodied Echo Fox. But 100
they almost clutched the win that Echo Fox got. Doublelift almost basically clutched the game and won it for Team Liquid.
I mean, let's be honest, Dockers, 100 Thieves.
I only watched the last game, and that was so sweet and.
Okay, cool. that last game, can I just say, that was a phenomenal game to watch. It was so tense.
Was so painful to watch.
Wait, was that the 90-minute game?
To play Trundle.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So to explain, basically, what happened was a Cloud Drake spawned, so no team wanted to take it because Baron spawned, and whatever team got the Baron, it was like both teams win condition. Like both teams needed to get Baron to basically open up the base because like the comps were just like remarkably similar, and it literally was 20, 30 minutes of just sitting near Baron. Like
I remember doing that in Null once.
Close fights.
There was a game in Null. I just remember everyone had to sit around Baron. Like I couldn't back playing jungle like in literally 20 minutes because if you leave, then the other team just takes the Baron. It's the most stressful and annoying thing in the world. But no, theirs was for like 30 minutes at least. Because the game ended at 80, 90 minutes.
And they took the Baron, and then it still wasn't over because the other game, Clutch managed to pull it back. And then it was this, it was in. I kind of wanted. I wanted 100 Thieves to win because I had a bet on it. But Clutch, I kind of wanted Clutch to win purely because of just how well some of their players played.
I just really wanted Featherman to win. I was really rooting for him.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me
also,
of
I really like Lyra.
It reminded me a bit of SKT versus Misfits in Worlds, where they went to 5-game series, and it basically came down to a 50-50 smite fight. Like, it kind of reminded me like that. It just came down to one objective, and the fights were so close around it that one team just slightly came out ahead. That's what reminded me of a bit. Anyway, but that brings us into the finals, which a battered and bruised 100 Thieves dragging their bloody corpse over close to the
It's
finish
going to be
line.
even more bloodied. Don't you worry.
And
I
then
think not.
Team Liquid with like no scratches on their armor as they walk into final. So in the blue corner, representing Team Liquid, we have Swifty, and then on the other side, the red corner, we have Dockers. Who do you two think is going to win this match and why?
We'll take a wild guess, bud.
All right, Dockers, you go first.
100 Thieves. I think it'll be 3-2
What?
if 100 win.
Why? Give me a detailed reason.
Because pretty much, you know how they're like,
It's going well.
you're saying they're like battered and bruised and they're dragging themselves there. They're just gonna like stand up and dust themselves off and just tis but a scratch. They'll be
Okay.
fine.
Okay. All right. Apart from hope, what other reasons do you have for 100
Needs more than hope, to be honest.
to be able to beat Team Liquid?
Afremu shot calling will probably just win them the game, I think.
Okay. Advanced analysis by Dockers. Thank you very much.
He's the get out of jail free card for the entire team.
Sure. What wasn't he also on the team when like I seem to remember a moment when CLG almost got relegated while he was yeah, I don't think he's a completely get out of jail card. Get out of jail free card. There we go. Got there in the end. I mean, that was Double Lift carrying them out of relegation. That series was
Different
great.
team.
And
Different team.
Last time.
Hashtag Piglet in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. He was better than.
He wasn't bad. It was pretty good. It was better than Golden Glue.
Golden Glue.
So, right, Sammy's. Who do you think is going to win, Team Liquid or 100 Thieves?
Purely just because of like when Team Liquid make plays, I think they've looked really good and they have really good synergy just because a lot of them have played together over the years. And 100 Thieves is like a new team. I also think Liquid's had a harder run to get to the finals than 100 Thieves. So I think Liquid will win. Will 100 Thieves take a game off them?
That is the question.
Not
who wins.
If they don't, I think it's the same with Fnatic G2. If they don't win the first game, they won't win one. Personally,
I think they can win one game because they do have a really good roster, but the series they won't win. I think it'll be 3-1 Liquid. That's my prediction.
Right. One thing I sort of I didn't skip over it, but I kind of missed it. So I presume everyone has heard about the Double Lift situation with what happened with his family.
Yes.
For those who don't know, basically it was a horrible situation. His brother went batshit crazy, and that's perfectly warranted use of the swear word. And flipped out and stabbed his parents and killed his mum. It was really horrifying news.
His dad's
really
still
disgusting.
critical, I think.
Yeah, his dad's in hospital. Like I was saying, it's kind of lucky that his neighbors saw his brother out there with a knife and called the police, because maybe if they hadn't like done that, his dad wouldn't be in hospital right now and like would probably be dead. So there's still a horrible situation.
It's
but
really...
he has been Liquid Steve for the memes. He said it's like I can guarantee Steve basically said you don't have to play if you don't want to. But it's double it. He confirmed Double Lift is playing, and it's his choice, completely his choice and his choice alone. I think everyone would be more than understandable if he decided he didn't want to play, but he is playing.
I think he's the type of person that he's going to play. And also, I was watching RF Legendary's stream 2 days ago. Double Lift was playing NA solo queue 2 days ago.
That's really surprising to me. I would have thought he'd still be with his family until like at least.
I think
the
Double Lift's
week,
mentality, like the way he is, he was always going to play the final.
Yeah.
It's really sad, really, because he reminisced with his parents No, not Prime Minister, reconciled.
Reconciled.
Sorry,
Oh.
with his
Yeah.
parents like a year ago.
Because he used to have a lot of arguments with his
And-
mum, I think.
Yeah, and like, of course, he didn't see his parents for like his entire family for like 3-4 years. Actually, no longer than that. And they reconciled like a year ago, and he was regularly seeing them and his brothers again. And his brother was the one that encouraged him to play League and to go pro.
Yeah, he
Which
said
makes it even-
he said it's one of the like he's one of his people he looked up to. You know, it's one of the people he missed in his family when he wasn't getting on with them was his brother. It's one of the reasons why it's such a sad. I mean, it's sad
Yeah,
anyway, but it's like there's like extra levels of tragedy, unless it's pretty crazy. But I want to bring up two things because I think it's although how bad it is it's exceptional what human beings can do. One was Dead Mouse when he was on the H3H3 podcast. He's talking about an alteration with this this musician called what was his name? Not Challenge. I can't remember. Carnage. That was it. There we go. And he had this altercation where he like pushed him or something, and then he had to go on and play because it was like a big festival. And Ethan asked, "Did that affect you?" And he went, "No, not at all." He said, "I could do my set with my eyes closed." He said he had a friend kill himself, and 30 minutes before he went on stage, and he went on stage anyway, and just did his job, you know, like because he views it like that. He just focuses, and it was something he could just, you know, do. And I've also got someone posted on one of the Reddit post of Steve announcing Double Lift will attend the NALCS finals, and it was a different situation, but Isaiah Thomas' sister passed away last year, and in one of the games, he said he wasn't sure he was going to play, but he decided to. He thought, you know, like you know, it's just basketball. He knows what he can do. He can just go onto the court at any time. Is it in like NBA, right? And he thought it would just shield him. You know, he could just focus on what he's doing, like forget about everything. And he thought that like he would just be contained in his own world, you know, and play. But he said one of the remarkable things was the entire crowd, like all the fans, even the fans in the other team, like saying, "This is for your sister," like "We love you" and stuff like that. And it became not just the court was his shield, but the entire arena was his shield. And it's like and he played phenomenally. He played amazingly, and it just, you know, it didn't. If anything, it not only helped him get through it, but it helped him play at like an even higher level. You know, so
I mean, in life, people are gonna pass away, and you can't just stop your life and what you're doing in life because of that. Like they would want you to carry on your career as much as like you want to. So it's
I don't think it's even gonna affect double lift. I don't think he'll play better because he's already playing amazingly, but I don't think he'll.
I don't think he'll play worse because of it. No.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be really emotional though. Like everybody's going to be crying on stage at the end of that game.
I think
Afromu and Double Lift, they're going to be in each other's arms crying.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be some
definitely.
really. Like I was ready to cry when Liquid win anyway, but
yeah, I know you are.
Like now, like.
See, I don't need to do that with Fnatic because I know they're going to win anyway.
I mean, it's not that. It's like
no, I know.
Support a team for that long and they're gonna win. It's
like they fight. I don't know.
It's like when Liverpool finally win the league. It's like
I completely understand that.
It's gonna be so emotional.
Yeah, it goes without saying. Like, I mean, everybody, the entirety of the League of Legends community has expressed support for Double Lift and his family
and beyond,
and beyond, and of course we do the same. We just, in the end of the day, we also just hope it's a good match as well. We hope it doesn't affect him. He can get on, because I think in the end of the day, if it I think he'd be really frustrated with himself if it did affect him. You know what I mean? So I hope he plays well for the simple reason that I think it'll make him stronger in the long run. You know, I think because he'll go that awful thing happened and I still played well. You know, like. It shows that mental resilience.
Oh, it's really respectful. A lot of people wouldn't bounce back like he has. Like I know people in university that would take probably a month off after
Yeah,
after
no.
that sort of stuff happened. But for him to do it just shows his commitment, and it just makes me have even more respect for him, to be honest, just because of
Yeah.
his
So
mentality.
it'll be fantastic to see what happens, and it'll be wonderful. I think it'll be fantastic to see what kind of support there is for him and from the other team as well, who would definitely be like, these guys often trash talk each other, but they are friends.
Are they
in the
doing
end.
a minute silence? Do you know? Because I feel like
I
they
have
should do
no
something
idea.
like that.
I think they'll.
I think that's more of
probably-
a European thing.
Is it? Do they not do that in
I think
NA?
it's more of a European
Okay.
football thing. But
I don't think
Yeah.
they've said they're doing anything. I don't think.
The thing is, I think they'll only do it if Double Lift says
Yeah,
it's okay.
yeah, sure. They'll,
I think
had
that's
to
the
ask
kind
him.
of thing. If Double Lift said no, I don't want it, then they won't do it.
Because
so-
he won't want that on his mind while he's
Yeah,
while he's
he-
playing
I
and
think-
stuff. So
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. You've heard it first. Joe thinks Dockers thinks 100 Thieves will win on the basis of it's Afromu and they'll stand up. Swifty said Team Liquid will win because Team Liquid are good.
you didn't
So-
actually ask me.
You didn't answer
sorry,
that,
some-
Joe.
I mean, let's be honest. That is pretty much your
I mean,
answer.
the reason why I think they're gonna win
Go on.
is because
And how
They're
much?
the best-
Say how
they're the
much
best-
by. Say how much by first.
they're gonna
Um,
win 3-1. If 100 Thieves don't win the first game, then it's a 3-0. Like Liquid have proved, in my opinion, that they said they were the best best of 5 team in NA, and it was just their best of 1 wasn't consistent enough.
And so far, that has shown to be true.
Yeah, they've shown it to be true. They also have 4 players in their roster that made the finals in summer. All of them have been to Worlds. 4 of them have won NA before. And all of them have been super consistent in their role throughout the entire split, even though they haven't won as many games as 100 Thieves. That's the reason why I think. Actually, no, they've only won. 100 Thieves have only won 1 more game in NA, like during the regular season, than Liquid anyway. But those are the reasons why I think they're gonna win.
So that's a solid answer by Joe. And I think we'll close it there because we've gone on for a while. Thank you for those who are listening and watching, or well, more listening. Thank you, of course, to my guests, the wonderful, the Aurelian Soul extraordinaire in the mid lane position, the Team Liquid fan boy. I almost said
Taco
pause
going to
before boy.
being confirmed as well.
That's CS.
good.
Stop. These people don't know what you're talking about. Stop.
They're like, what?
Um,
Tacos? He wants to eat tacos?
But thank you to Swifty. Thank you to Sammy's as well for also hosting the stream as well,
Thank
as
you.
I could not myself. Very very good insight in LCK because not many people actually keep up to date on that. And thank you very much for the 100 Thieves. The Meteos fan club in the
I like
support
the
role.
Wait, is
entire
that
team
is
you've
that the
got.
reason why you chose?
Wait,
them?
you
'Cause of
fancy me?
Meteos?
Alright, this is a brilliant ending for the stream.
Fantastic.
Anyway, thank you very much, Dockers, for coming in and aiding in some more balanced discussion about the NALCS final. Anyway, and on that note, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll hopefully be doing one next week on the Tuesday. We're going to try and do these weekly. I've been ordered by Snow, so we shall see you.
Godlike.
We'll see you next week. I'll put up a schedule. Probably tomorrow. Definitely tomorrow, not tonight. And we shall see you in the next episode. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next stream.